Aloha, everyone. Last week, you read an article about what is syncretism, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about that because it's very important to learn what syncretism is. When the gospel is presented in such a way so that it weakens the power of Christ, then it's syncretism. And there are countries around the world that have syncretistic religions. In South America, you find where they've just taken their native gods and changed these gods into the saints, like saying from now on this saint will be our god so and they continue to worship their native gods. And you find that in the Philippines and some other places also, and it really weakens the gospel. And we definitely not are not about that. But there's a scale if we look at it that way. If we see a scale like this of one side totally foreign, in other words, the gospel is so much of Western culture that it's looked at by the Japanese as foreign, and this side as being syncretism, that you're mixing so much of the Japanese culture and their gods, the gospel is really compromised. Now, you don't want to be on either end. And so many people are so afraid of being syncretistic that they go so foreign. And we will be just as responsible when we stand before Father in heaven for presenting a gospel that's so foreign that they cannot understand or accept it and don't come to Christ, as we will be by presenting a gospel that's syncretistic and combined with the native culture so much that people lose sight of Christ. But both sides are not good. And for both sides, people will not understand the saving grace and the gospel of Jesus Christ. So what we really want to be is right in the middle. And that's where I call it the crosshairs, where the gospel comes right down the middle and keeps us in the crosshairs, right in the center. And as you know, sin is missing the mark. So we want to hit the mark right in the crosshairs, not being so Western that people can't understand the gospel, and combining it so much that people can't see the gospel anymore. The reason we focus mainly on trying to change a Western gospel is because we find most people on the Western side, where most people in Japan look at Christianity as that foreign religion or that American religion, and it's not a Japanese religion. And we make it so foreign that they can't see that this is for the Japanese, this is ours, and coming home to who we are as Japanese. And so that's why we focus more on bringing the culture in so that people can see that this is ours, and this is a religion that we belong to. But we do not want to go all the way to the other end where we actually lose sight of Christ and who He is. We want to have a gospel that's within the wa and acceptable, and uchi, that we also learned last week, but not syncretistic. And another thing I want to bring out to you is how can we gain acceptance? In Japan, everything has to be accepted by the group. So you might have a great idea, but if it has no acceptance, it'll go nowhere. How can we gain acceptance? There's a group in Japan now who the pastors don't wear ties. They still wear their suits, but no ties. And they had a big meeting, and they all talked about it together, and they had to decide together that they were not going to wear ties anymore. And now this whole group does not wear ties. And so this agreement is very, very important, because one person would not have done it alone. So how can we introduce these concepts the best way to getting acceptance? As we move forward and we're looking at these things, these are things that we need to grapple with and think about and try to get right in the crosshairs and hit the mark.